Welcome to Meet Me in Tennessee. I'm your host, Sabrina Morton, and the sponsor of our podcast today is Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. The website is northeasttennessee.org. And our guest today is Lottie Young. Lottie is an owner of South Holston River Rentals, and she also started a new business, even more new business recently called Historic Strides of Bristol. Hello, Lottie.
Hey, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Good. So let's talk first about the short-term rentals. How many properties do you have?
We currently have 2, and we will have a 3rd in March.
Okay. Awesome. How long have you been doing the short-term rentals?
We started in 2020. We had long-term rentals, still have some long-term rentals. We had a long-term renter move out, and my uncle actually said, you guys should do short-term rentals. And he won't let me forget that this is his idea, so...
He's taking all the credit.
Yeah, yes.
You're doing all the work. He's taking all the credit, right? So he's the one. So your uncle got you started. Was it property you already owned?
It was property we already owned. We had a long-term renter there, and they decided to move out and buy a house. And at first I was kind of like, nobody's going to rent this. Like, there's not that many people that come to our area. I was kind of, ignorant to the fact of how many people come to our area all the time. And we're right on the river, so about 95% of our people are fisher people. So we stay very busy because of the South Holston River.
That's great. So what percentage of the time do you think they are rented? Like last year, for example?
We've been busier this year. We have been at 90% occupancy for the last 4 months. So it kind of goes, August is a little slow because everybody's going back to school, things like that. But September's booked completely, October's booked completely. There's great events in September. There's great fishing in September. There's Rhythm and Roots in Bristol. There's the NASCAR race. So, there's a lot of reasons to come to Bristol, and we're kind of proof of that.
So you get mostly people who are visiting Bristol.
Yes.
Do you get things for any other parts of the Tri-Cities?
We actually have had several people come to visit the Creeper Trail in Abingdon, and people that just want to get out of town, out of like larger cities, and want to come to like a small town atmosphere, but still a lot of things to do. We've had people come into town just to go to Bristol Caverns, kind of everything. So
that's awesome. That's great. So one of yours, how many people can stay in your rentals at a time?
So they're all 2 bedrooms. So we're at max 4 people, which kind of keeps it small and kind of helps out. We also have remote workstations and great Wi-Fi. So if you're remote working and you want to come and stay and just kind of for a change of scenery, we have one that's pet friendly. So you can bring your dog, your cat, and, kind of just hang out on the river for a while. So
that's awesome. Did you have a mentor at all to help you get when you were getting started, or how did you learn?
When we got started, I knew no one that did Airbnbs. Like I said, I was just completely oblivious to the fact that this was a huge industry in our area. And I actually did the short-term rental workshop that Northeast Tennessee puts on, which was great help. And I met a lot of really awesome people that do short-term rentals in our area. And so that's helped a lot. And networking and just getting out and meeting people. We are on the Facebook group for, rental organization owners, and then, met people that way. And it's been a great help to be like, oh, hey, don't do this, or this is a great outlet, and I have this great new program you might want to check out. And so that's really been helpful.
That's great. And I want to mention right there, since you brought it up, Northeast Tennessee Tourism is doing more short-term rental workshops starting in September. So if you'll go to the website, you could sign up for those, or there'll be a link for you to sign up if you would like to attend one of those. They are Kingsport, Mountain City, I think Unicoi County, and there's one more that I have forgotten. There should be 4 of them, though, I believe, coming up. So if you are someone out there thinking about getting into short-term rentals, Airbnbs, Burbo, please come to the workshop there is a plethora of information, and most of it comes from the other people there who aren't interested in getting into short-term rentals or already have short-term rentals. We have guest speakers who are experienced in the business. And as Lottie said, we have a Facebook page where you can just ask questions, talk to it's a private page. It's only the people who've been to our workshops and other people who we know are short-term rental owners and are experienced and know what they're doing or having problems and need help.
And it was
a great
great.
community.
It was a great community to join. It was a great experience, and I would advise anybody if you're even thinking about it, it'll tell you some of the nitty-gritty details.
So do you have any wild stories about?
So we've been very lucky. We haven't had any horror stories or horror guests, knock on wood. I guess our wildest one, we had a couple that, had come in for their anniversary and they got into this major fight on the way down. They spent the night and the next morning left, even though they booked it for a week. And she called me the next morning. She was like, I got so mad, I threw my husband's clothes in the trash can.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they were his work clothes. So she was like, can you mail those back to me?
Oh, wow.
So, we've had funny things like that happen. But typically it's families that come to relax, or we had one couple, they were empty nesters and they were getting ready to sell their house. And they're just traveling around the country and doing different Airbnbs. So it's really cool, like the people that you get to meet during this. We have a couple that's coming in October that have stayed 4 or 5 times with us that my husband and I are taking out to dinner. So you really kind of become friends with people, especially like the repeat guests.
Right. That was the other thing I was going to ask, if you've made any close relationships with any of the people who've been there, and if they've been there 4 or 5 times, you've only had them a couple of years.
Yeah, we've had it.
So
we've had it since 2020. We've had one couple that this will be their 4th visit in October, and they just started coming this year. So you get kind of close to them, and they'll add you on Facebook or text you, what's going on in their lives, and that's my favorite part of all of it, is getting to be a part of somebody's memory. And now we have people that are coming in and they spend their Christmas with us. They spend their New Year's with us. It's like a yearly tradition. They spend their anniversaries with us. And I really like to make that special. Like, we always decorate for the holidays. And, if I know it's your birthday, you're getting a cake, or your anniversary, something like that. And that's my favorite part, is like, if somebody can come and escape their daily life, how hectic everything is, and just relax and enjoy themselves, and they make that their memory and we're a part of that. That's the coolest thing. Like, they'll talk about that trip for years, and that's really my favorite part.
I've heard other owners say the same thing, that they've just met certain people who they've kept in touch with over the years, and now they have this bond and they're like family, and the people just keep coming back to stay. And
I never really imagined, that it would turn into that, but it has, and that's absolutely my favorite part. There are some parts that aren't great. People call at midnight, 1 a.m. and expect you to like book their stay right then because they're so excited. But for the most part, it's, people are nice and they're just excited to come, and they're great to deal with.
So do you do direct bookings, or you book through? How does that work? Booking through Airbnb or booking directly?
We do a little bit of everything. We do Airbnb, we do Vrbo, we do Booking.com, and we have a direct booking website that a friend of ours put together for us. So you can go directly to our website, www.southholstonriverrentals.com, and book your stay. You can see the calendar, and it'll link you to our Facebook and our Instagram pages and our TikTok, which we're kind of not the hippest on, but we're trying to get there. And it keeps you up to date with what's going on. And especially now, since we're getting ready to add another property, I'll post a lot of photos of the process of that. So.
And when did you say that property will be complete?
Tentatively March, maybe April.
That's great. I was thinking also, when you were saying that some people come and spend their holidays there, it reminded me for some reason of the Bristol Casino, which is open apparently 365,
yes,
24 hours.
Yes.
So you can go spend Christmas at your Airbnb, and then go hang out at the casino, gamble your Christmas money if you want.
There you go. Spend your New Year's Eve downtown or at the casino,
I just thought that was funny because your little place, I haven't been there in person yet. I want to go because I've seen the pictures and it's so serene. And there's one picture in particular that I've seen. I think it was on your website, but I think you sent it to me also, of the little front porch and just the river, just that view. And I thought I could just imagine sitting out there in the mornings and taking that all in, all the nature. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we've had several women that have come and stayed just, and they've messaged me and said, hey, I just need a week away from my kids and my husband and my job. And so they've come to just like get away from it all and unplug. And it's a great place to do that because you can just watch the river, and there's a ton of boats that go by with the guided fishing tours, and you can watch that. And, we have a lot of great wildlife that we have 2 herons that come by pretty frequently. And so it's great just to, take all that in.
How far away is the property from, say, downtown Bristol?
So we're kind of in a great location. I'd say we're about 15 minutes from everything. We're about 15 minutes to Bristol Motor Speedway. We're about 15 minutes to downtown. It's a nice, easy country drive. So we're really close to downtown, but kind of far enough away where it's really quiet. We're on a quiet little street. It's a little 1-lane, little 1-mile road. And so we're close enough, but if you want to get away, we're far enough away too.
That's good. So then if you get tired of your husband instead of fighting, you can just go.
Yeah, you can go downtown. You can be downtown
don't throw his clothes away.
Yeah, don't throw them in the trash. I will mail them back to you, but it's probably not a great idea.
No, don't throw his clothes away. Just go buy something downtown. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you've faced being a short-term rental owner so far?
I am very much a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. So, if you call me at midnight or 1 a.m. and you want to book your stay, I'm up, I'm doing it, no problem. I have a very hard time saying no to people and, some of the crazy requests we get. So that's been my biggest challenge, is kind of like boundaries and saying no. And I can't be available 24/7, even though I want to be. That's really been my biggest challenge. That, and, we kind of got into this during the pandemic, and I thought it was going to be slow, and thankfully and kind of scarily, it's not been. So it's been kind of difficult to keep track of everything. Like I have this very large planner that is attached at the hip. So just trying to keep track of everything and being okay with telling people no sometimes has been the hardest thing.
Yes. You need to learn to do that.
Yeah.
You've got to have balance.
Yes.
That work-life balance. Do you live near the property?
I do.
Okay,
we actually live on the same street. And so it's nice. We're there. People want to meet us. If not, you'll never see us. Mm-hmm. We've had people that need additional parking. Like we had a race team come and stay.
Oh, wow.
And so they needed, places to park all their car haulers, and they parked at our house. And yeah, so it's nice being there in case they need us, and if not, just know that I am there if you're going to throw a giant party.
We had that discussion once before at a short-term rental workshop. I don't think it was the one you were at, but some of the owners just want to meet people. Like they are always there to meet whomever's renting, and some of them don't at all. And then some people like to be greeted when they get there. I'm one of those. I don't really want to meet anyone. If I'm staying in a short-term rental, I just want to push the code in or get the key or whatever and go. But
that's how I feel. Like when I go out of town, I just want to put the code in. Like if you need to tell me something, that's great. But if not, I'm just doing my own thing.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how some people really want to meet us and want to hang out. And that's fine too. But I understand, because I'm that person that's like, I don't need to talk to you, really. I'm going to get away. Exactly. I'm turning my phone off now.
I'm like you, and I like to talk a lot. So if I do meet the person, they're going to be stuck there with me forever, probably, because I'm just going to talk about everything. So who has traveled from furthest away to stay at your property?
We've had several people from Arizona, Texas, Florida. So I've been contacted from people in Ireland that have talked about booking, but nobody out of the country yet. So I'm waiting on that one.
That'll be exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And one of the properties in Leo's Hideaway, we have a map that has little pins you can put like where your home state is
cute.
from. And so it's really exciting. Like whenever they leave, I go in and check to see, where their pin's from.
Do you have a guest book too where
Yes.
they can write you a little? I always like reading those.
I love the guest book. I love the reviews. Like that's, it's awesome knowing that people had a good time and they see like the little touches that we put into it.
Well, Lottie does have 5 stars, I will say.
Yes,
on
knock on
her
wood.
Reviews.
The first time we ever get a 4, I probably will cry. It's not, but so far we've been very lucky and we've had all great reviews.
Well, you're doing a great job, and that's your proof there, because they will let you know if you are not. So, if you want to book South Holston River Rentals, I'm going to let Lottie tell you the website again so you can go on there and book.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we are at www.southholstonriverrentals.com. You can also find us on Airbnb or Vrbo, Instagram, Facebook. We're pretty easily found. TikTok. Yeah, we have a few videos on TikTok.
That's great. I thought too that this would be a really good gift for someone to give them the gift of a short-term rental.
Yes, we also offer gift cards on our website.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah, we've had a daughter bought her mother one for Mother's Day. So
that's very cool. I was thinking about that. If you know someone who's a fisherman and you don't know what to get them for Christmas, book this place.
And we also so 2 of our neighbors are fishing guides.
Oh, wow.
So we know a lot of fishing guides, and we can always hook you up with one.
Okay. So if you've got that fisherman in your life and you don't know what to get them before Christmas, which is just really around the corner.
Really, you got to start shopping now. So.
Get a gift card from Lottie, and she'll hook you up with a fishing guide. It'll be the best gift ever. Okay, now that we've done the short-term rental talk, I want to talk about your new business. So tell us about that. Give us the name.
So I started a new business. It's called Historic Strides of Bristol. And we had a ton of guests that were from out of town that wanted information about Bristol. And they were like, it's such a great town and you have this giant sign. It's a great place to live. And, what's the story on that? So I kept telling all these stories and I thought, man, there's really a need downtown for someone to come in and do a historic walking tour. So we start on Bristol's most historic corner that overlooks the Bristol sign and talks about how Bristol got started. And we walk down State Street and I just give you facts about Bristol and answer any questions you can have and just kind of tell how Bristol got its start and little known facts and, crazy stories about Bristol. I grew up knowing Bud Phillips, who was Bristol's, he wrote several books about Bristol, and I would get so excited to go to his house when I was a kid. Or, when he had an estate sale and tell you stories, and I'd call him up sometimes and say, hey, Mr. Bud, what about this, And so I guess it's kind of come from my love of Bristol and love of history, and I've just always been interested in it. And so I thought, this is something that people downtown, I think, would want to see. So, and want to know about. So, and there's things that I learned that even, knowing all that, growing up, being, excited about Bristol's history, there's things, when I researched that I didn't even know about. And it's really cool. Bristol has a great history and, great story to tell.
They do. And I didn't know Bud Phillips personally, but I absolutely know who he is. He knew everything about Bristol, and he was in the paper a lot, and he would write articles about various things, various aspects or historical things in Bristol. And so when he passed away, I really did wonder who's gonna remember all this or who's gonna do all this now. He knew everything that has ever happened in Bristol.
Yes, and he he moved here in the 50s, and he got to interview people that were they were in their 90s at the time, and so he got all these great interviews from them. And he wrote, I know of at least 4 books, but I'm thinking there's probably more than that. I think there's like 5 or 6. And he used to, even up into his 80s, he would lead tours in the cemetery and tell about different people's graves. And it was just such a unique, awesome experience to have. And so I thought, I want to do that. I want to teach people about Bristol as well.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're doing that and carrying that history along to the next generations. I will have to come do a tour one day too.
Yeah.
I grew up in Bristol, but I'm sure I didn't really like history a lot. So I'm sure there are a lot of things you could teach me.
Well, and it's getting ready to be fall. It's a great time
Yes.
to walk downtown and, just kind of hang out.
And the downtown in Bristol
is great.
It's awesome.
It's
it really
so great.
is. There's so much down there.
Mm-hmm.
They have done a great job of preserving a lot of the history, the buildings, and just made it into something really cool now. It's modern, but it's not.
Yes. Yeah. We like to hold on to our roots. So.
Yes. That's amazing. So you can book, where can you book a tour?
We also have a Facebook and Instagram page, and we have a direct booking website as well. It's Historic Strides of Bristol.com. We also are on Airbnb experiences. So if you go on Airbnb and you want to book an experience, you can book through that as well.
So you could book a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
You can book a tour. Lottie will take you.
Yeah, you guys will have your fill of me by the time you leave. But yeah, you can book at the river and, for a short drive to downtown.
That's great. Do you cook breakfast?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I sometimes will bring cookies like from Blackbird or Unique Bakery, so.
Yes. I love Unique also. Mm-hmm. That's where my birthday cake every year has to come from Unique.
Yes.
So.
They make the best cakes.
Yes, they do. They're delicious. Okay, this is the fun part that I always end with. I'm going to ask you just some fun questions.
Okay.
In a movie about your life, who would play you?
Well, let me tell you, I am a good Southern girl. So it has to be either Reese Witherspoon or if it's like, if it's a great movie, Dolly Parton, that's like that would be a dream. But definitely Reese Witherspoon, she's so great and Southern and that would be my dream.
That is, when I asked you the question, I thought Reese Witherspoon for you, actually.
One time I was in New Orleans and somebody had a few too many hurricanes and was like, "Hey, are you no?" Oh, and so I've held on to that. But no, they were very
well, as one does in New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. That's what's expected. What's your favorite local restaurant, local dining spot?
So
can be anywhere.
Downtown in Bristol. One of my favorites is Southern Craft. Mm-hmm. It is so delicious. It is so good. I always have a hard time. I just want to eat like all the sides. Like their barbecue is amazing, but their sides are so good.
I agree.
And so we normally will go there and go to like the Cameo or, one of the bars downtown and just hang out. And Southern Craft is always like the start of a good night.
Yes.
And 620 downtown in Bristol is one of my favorites too. It's where I met my husband. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there a good story there?
It was a blind date.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So friends had fixed you up or were dating site?
It was a dating site.
Okay.
Yes, which I was so nervous about, so freaked out about.
Which one? Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. Match.com.
Okay.
That was the one.
That's where I met my fiance, actually.
And I was so embarrassed to tell that for a long time. I used to tell that friends, introduced us, but my cousin actually crashed our date. She was there with her friends and watched the whole thing happen. So that made me more nervous and less nervous at the same time since I was meeting a stranger.
I would always tell people I worked with if I were going on a first date with someone I'd met online, this is where I'm going. This is everything I know about this person. This is their picture.
Yes.
This is their profile. We're going here. And I would get calls or texts during dinner. Are you okay? Are you still alive? So it all worked out, though. What is your signature cocktail?
So if I'm at Southern Craft, it's a June Carter.
Okay.
I don't know. I've seen them make it. Mm-hmm. I know the ingredients. I have tried to recreate it. Cannot. It's so good. It is my favorite thing. It is whiskey and peach, and it's sweet, and it packs a punch.
Nice.
And so that's my favorite. If I'm making it, it's probably just going to be some whiskey and ice because I'm not a very good bartender. Yeah. But if I'm out, that or a very dirty martini.
That's mine.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
love, and I always order it like that, very
Yes,
dirty.
very dirty.
Love it, extra olives.
Yes.
Okay, and then my favorite question, and the last question: what's your personal theme song?
Okay, so my personal theme song is a throwback. It is Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell.
Yes, girl. I
You
know
cannot,
What that is.
I mean, you can't listen to that and not be happy. Like, that is, that's my happy tune. If you're in a bad mood, play that. If you're getting amped up to go out or, anything, that's the ticket right there.
Well, you truly are the epitome of Southern lady.
I mean, you can't listen to that and not
that-
be happy. You can't not dance. You can't not sing along. It's just the
Yeah.
greatest song.
It's a song I have not heard since I was way younger than I am now. Way young. And now I'm going to have to play it, I think, just to reminisce.
Yeah.
And Glenn Campbell, people probably don't know who
Yeah,
he
they're probably like,
That's-
who is that? Yeah, but I introduced my son to the song, and he thought it was great, too. And so,
Aw.
every time we're in the car together, he puts that on, and we dance around, and it's just great.
That's
So-
awesome. And that's a great story. Well, Lottie, thank you so much for being with me today. We're
thank
so
you.
good hearing about what you've got going on in Bristol, and you're really keeping the traditions alive there and helping the folks out with some short-term rentals because there's just everywhere. We need more places to stay everywhere in the area. So
Yeah, if you ever come to Bristol, just give us a holler.
I will. I'm going to come stay. I'm going to just do a kind of a
staycation,
staycation.
yeah.
I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. And you're going to take me on a tour and tell me all the historical things I don't know, even though I grew up there.
Yeah, we'll even go get a June Carter.
Perfect. Sounds great. Lottie, thank you so much for being with us. And again, we were sponsored by Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. Website is northeasttennessee.org. And if you are interested in learning more about short-term rentals, if you're thinking about getting into that business, look on the northeasttennessee.org website, and there will be a place to sign up for some short-term rental workshops coming up. We will talk to you guys in a few weeks.